Hello, it's Kevin here. Time to look at the first of our videos for IELTS Academic Task 1. Now, as you probably know, or I hope you do know, we've been doing Task 2 essays for quite a while now. I think we got up to number 60. That's our last video. So, in those, as I say, as you know, we were setting you IELTS Academic Task 2 essay tasks. You would write your introduction and I would comment. And we would take one of the essays and do a full assessment and commentary, etc. We're going to continue that, but now we're shifting the focus, and it's about time, onto Academic Task 1. We'll do General Training Task 1, the letter, in future, but for now we're going to focus on the academic tasks. So it's going to be the data ones, the maps, and the process. Okay, so it could be, as here, a graph, could be a chart, a table, a pie chart, combination of graph, chart, table, and then map and process. So we've got quite a few things to be getting on with. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be inviting you to write the introduction and the overview for this task. Now, as you know, these tasks are a minimum of 150 words. Okay, so the essays 250 to 290-ish. That was more or less. So I could only really comment on your introduction. So what we're going to do here, because it's shorter, I'm just going to be commenting. I'm going to be inviting you to write your introductions and your overview, not the main body paragraphs 3 and 4, where you would be describing the key trends or features, including the data and the details. So it's just going to be introduction, paraphrasing the topic, including as much information as possible. The graph illustrates this, it's in this place, it's in this time, it's measured in these units, etc. From an overall view, from an overall perspective, it can be seen, we can see that X is twice as big as Y, X and Y are the same, there's a dramatic surge in X, whereas Y shows a significant fall, whatever those key features are. Okay, no figures or data, okay? And then we'll be choosing one to write a complete task 1, which will be assessed. So let's get on with it. So first of all, let me just scroll down so you can see, we can capture the whole picture. Okay, so we can see we've got the rubric here, we've got the graph, we've got the graph title, x-axis, y-axis or axis, it's about male and females, where in Canada, the years, etc. Okay, so the graph below shows the number of university graduates in Canada from 1992 to 2007. And they'll always say, summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and there's usually 3. Not all features, main features, the criteria just, talk about the key trends or the main features. So the main features, make comparisons if or where is relevant. Okay, so we can see it's graduate numbers in Canada, 15-year period, measured in tens of thousands, and we can see the most obvious thing here, considerably more females than males were graduates across the period. Second thing is that both genders showed a significant increase across the period. However, females showed a more marked increase. So the males, 70,000 to 95,000. So that's an increase of 25,000. So it's roughly a third. Just below 100,000 to nearly 150,000. So that is nearly doubled. Well, it's 50% more, I should say. Sorry, I'm not that good at maths. But so 100,000 to 150,000. So that's It's 50% more, which is obviously more than the males, which increased by 25 from 70 to 90, so that's like a third. Well, anyway, however, so there are three key features there. More females than males in general, a greater number, a more significant rise from females according to males, and yet both of the genders did show a significant upward trend. So those are the three features that you need to be including in paragraph 3 and 4. Okay, so let me get this back to full size. Full size, we can see it. Okay, so good sample introduction and overview. Now, I haven't put a lot of paraphrasing down here because you can work that out, but you have to paraphrase. Now, here it's quite important. What lots of people do, they simply copy the rubric. If you do that, the examiner will cross it out, take it out of the total. Okay, so the graph shows Canadian graduate numbers from 1992 to 2007, divided by gender, male, female, and measured in the tens of thousands. Okay, so there's no information that we could really add to that introduction. It's in this place, it includes this, it covers this, and it's assessed in this way. Okay. Now, overall, or from an overall view, it can be seen that both sets of figures show an increasing upward trend, with other females being significantly higher than males. And that's all you basically need for your introduction and overview. In paragraph 3 and 4, you'd be expanding on these features with data, figures and data. The years, beginning in 1992, 70,000 students, we saw a significant rise, a dramatic fall to 80,000, and subsequently across the period, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's that kind of thing. We'll be going into this in detail and, well, at a later date in a later video. Because when you're talking about graphs, the way to describe change, the rate and speed of change is quite important. You can use verbs, adverbs, nouns, a dramatic increase, dramatically increased. So all these different ways that you can talk about the rate and speed of change on a graph or table. We'll be giving you the language to talk about those. Again, that's in a future video. So, now let's have a look at yours. The given line graph illustrates how many students graduated from universities in Canada between 1992 and 2007. I would have said how it was measured, but okay. Overall, the number of female and male graduates experienced an upward trend. More female grads at the beginning and in the end, well, at the end of the mentioned period. And we don't need to say mentioned, of course, it's mentioned at the end of the period. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Could have maybe added a couple of little things there, but okay. A glance at the graph provided reveals some information about the proportion of female and male graduates at a university in Canada over a period of 15 years, starting from 1992. Again, you could have mentioned how it was measured in tens of thousands, but okay. On the whole, men and women's rates showed an upward pattern totally. I don't know why you've got that adverb there for. And at the end of the period, the number of men had almost reached the point where women's number had started. I'm not quite sure what that is supposed to mean. That's not very clear. Okay. The graph shows the number of graduates from, I don't think it's I think it's university graduates in general, so it's not a particular university. So it's the number of the graduates in Canada. So Canadian graduate numbers, universities in Canada, right, I should have changed that, universities in Canada, because it's universities in general. Okay. And it's not so, again, we've got to be very careful what we include. So universities, it's not just one, it's the whole of Canada, okay? In Canada for over 15 years, okay. So, male, female, how's it measured, what period, what times it starts. A lot of information missing from that introduction. The more details you can put in that introduction, the higher your task response score will be. Overall, it has been seen, was it past tense? We're looking at it now. It can be seen that the number of female graduates from a university, well, it's not a single university, is it? It's the whole of Canada is more than males. Additionally, figures of both genders experience upward trends in the whole period. Okay. Very, very sparse. There's a lot more that you could add to that one. The graph illustrates the number of people who have been graduated. Why is it passive? Who have graduated from universities. It's the whole of Canada during the period of 19. Again, we've got the same thing. You have to tell us, Now, I know here you say the number in both genders, but I would put it in the introduction. Of both sexes or both genders, measured in tens of thousands. Put that detail in. Get it in. Overall, the number in both genders experienced a relatively equal upward trend. Well, yes, but there was more. The number of female students during the period remained higher than that pertains than that of males or men. Okay. The given graph compares the number of men and women that graduated, because obviously in the past, over 8 years. My maths is pretty shaky, but isn't it 15 years? 1992 to 2007. It is crystal clear. Why is it crystal? Why is it crystal clear? It is clear, or we can see that, or simply just the overall trend. The overall trend of male is surged same. Don't know what that means. As the opposite gender, whereas the rise in the number of males is more significant. I see what you're trying to say, but how that is phrased, it does not work at all. The overall trend of males is surged, same. Well, how can it be the same? It's the opposite. No, that's not very good at all. No idea what that means. Completing education among men dominated women is this supposed to be throughout the whole period? In addition to the fluctuation in figure, no idea what that means. That's very, very vague. That's not well written at all. No idea what you're talking about. This graph demonstrates the quantity of Canadians alumni over a 15-year period from 1992. Gender, how is it measured? Graduates from university. Alumni could be from anything. It could be from high school. It doesn't necessarily imply university. Totally? Was it totally? What does that mean? Totally what? There is an upward tendency in the number of graduate students, we don't say, of graduate students of both genders. However, we observe the graduated graphs line for females is a little more accelerated than males. Little more accelerated, what you mean is bigger, is larger? I'm not quite sure what. Acceleration refers to speed, not about rate. It's to do with speed. Accelerate when you put your foot down, or accelerates, So I'm not sure what relevance or pertinence that has here. And also, female alumni in comparison to males are dominant over the entire years. So you mean there's more female graduates than male? Then why not say so? Okay. The line graph illustrates gender, distribution of graduate students from universities in Canada for 15 years from 2007. Okay, gender distribution. I would put measured in the tens of thousands. Again, get all that detail in, you know. All in all, the proportion of women graduates at the university for tertiary education, well, we don't need that, because you've already said it. We don't need that at all. Was significantly higher than that of men in whole duration in the period, you mean. And despite some fluctuations, both males and females have experienced a growing trends, well, an increase in numbers, I don't know who would use that, during those 15 years. Okay. The line graph provides information about the number of male and female graduates. University in Canada. Again, it's universities in Canada. And 2007. Again, you could have put how it's measured. As can be observed from the illustration, a significant increase there has been, right. So there has been, what's your word order here? There has been a significant increase during this period. An increase in what? And also it was the same about men and women. So that's not very clear at all. What increased? What are you talking about? It's not very clear at all, that. Okay, the last two. The proportion of Canadian male and female university graduates is indicated over a 16-year period. Well, it's not 16, is it? Isn't it 2007? Well, let's have a look. Yeah, 2007. So, okay. Got to be careful. You can't include inaccurate information. By the line graph, how is it measured in tens of thousands? Overall, it is clear that there is a growing trend of alumni with some fluctuations over a given period, where female graduates are always much more than their male counterparts throughout the female graduates. Numbers were always more than their male counterparts. Okay, that's not too bad. The line graph illustrates the number of students graduated from Canadian universities between that and 2007. Okay. Gender, how's it measured? On the whole, it seems women were by far the highest proportion of university graduates, despite some fluctuations of both genders over the period shown. Okay, it doesn't really give a lot of detail. In the overview there. So, okay, so you need to put as much detail in as possible. So for this one here, right, look at the rubric, look at the graph, look at the trends, look at the axes, X and Y. What does it tell you? Get that in your introduction. So in Canada, across this period, it's measured in these units. It's got both genders. Okay, that's what you need. The overview, what's the trends? Okay, as I said, more females than males, both have an upward trend. If you look at the difference between the figures, 50% more females across the period, as opposed to, I think it's about a third more males across the period, and lower numbers in total. So those are the key features that I would mention. Okay, so not too bad. We'll be covering more of these. In fact, our next task is a map, just for a change. So we'll take a look at that. But the structure is basically the same for all of task 1. So introduction, overview, main feature 1 and 2, main feature 3. That's it. If you can get used to that, you'll be fine. So I'll see you next next time, and that's going to be analysing a map. Okay, I'll see you then.